Good evening. I call to order the City of Gerald regular City Council meeting Tuesday, November 4th at 7 p.m. First item on the agenda is a roll call. We have all members present. We will now have an invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Councilwoman Clausen.
Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening to give you our appreciation for the opportunity that you've granted us to serve our amazing city. Lord, we continue to ask for your wisdom and guidance in the decisions we have been entrusted to make. May our decisions reflect healthy discussion, vision, common respect, a humble heart, and unity. We give thanks to you for our residents that help shape the future of our city. We give thanks to you for our staff for their hard work and unwavering commitment to our city. We give thanks to you for allowing us to arrive safely and pray that we will all remain safe in our departure after the meeting. We give thanks to you for the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday, and may we see joy as we reflect on your power and love. In everything, Lord, we give thanks to you. As it says in 1 Thessalonians 5:18, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. May our hearts be filled with gratitude as we start this meeting, and may it guide us throughout the meeting. We pray these things in your precious name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item on the agenda is public comments. First individual is Jeff Studell. I noticed you had 2 cards here. We typically limit speakers
One.
to one
No,
card.
I can't speak to an individual item.
And we've never allowed that. If there's a public hearing,
Okay, I don't have a
Then you're
problem.
allowed to-
All right, let's
then
find
you're
out.
allowed to
Jeff
speak on
Seidel,
that.
128 Katie Hill Path, Home Place. Good evening, council. I urge you to accept my offer of compromise and contact me directly for mediation. It is imperative that investigations continue to expand into the ongoing corruption and criminal conduct by certain city officials, attorneys, and associates. Allow me to reference just a few. There are many more troubling than these. I have personally been assaulted twice by David Bryson of the Bryson crime family and threatened twice by Daniel Klepak in the presence of attorneys and council members. These illegal acts were ignored. There's a pattern of nepotism and manipulation within city operations. Appointments were made in extended terms and placed people without public vote, removing qualified people without finishing their terms. Council members were forced to resign. Planning and zoning board members were arbitrarily removed and handpicked to be replaced. The Economic Development Corporation Board was basically wiped out, including its director and the chairman being replaced with Larry Bush and a hand-picked person. This was done in a desperate attempt to maintain control by the good old boy network that I call the Wu-Tang Gang. In October 2024, council voted to appoint Thomas Hertel as interim city manager, yet Mayor Patrick Sherritt unlawfully blocked him, instructing Police Chief Patrick South, who was later terminated. Chief South was ordered to prevent Hertel's entry into City Hall and arrest him if necessary. This was an illegal act. City Hall is not your personal playground. Rather, it belongs to the citizens of Gerald. City Manager Danielle Cantler Singh has engaged in repeated misconduct and collusion. Worked with Abigail Brown, alias Joan Boyden, and Tanya Clausen to leak confidential city and EEOC records, manipulated open record requests, and published false and defamatory information on social media, Gerald Seeking Facts page. These posts identified minors, distorted facts, and interfered with local elections. Ms. Cantler Singh used city staff and resources to promote her personal agenda and to avoid termination by taking medical leaves. Abigail Brown and Danielle Cantler Singh also collaborated in land deals, including misleading gifts of near worthless property to the city presented as a splash pad opportunity. Daniel Cantler Singh and Abigail Brown colluded politically, having ties to Brighton Homes and DRB Homes, whose local operations warrant investigation. Do not buy a Brighton home. Do not buy a DRB home. They are corrupt. Danielle and Abigail Brown collaborated to extort the city and promote Danielle's legacy property to be annexed and developed. This is being investigated, and there are major players from Colleen and Gerald that are involved. There is much more to come. In summary, obstruction of lawful council votes and appointments, retaliation, threats, physical intimidation against elected officials, collusion between city leadership, staff, and property developers, manipulation of public information, records, and elections, misuse of city property and authority for personal use and political gain.
Thanks.
More to come.
Thank you. Okay, next is Michael Farino. And I noticed you filled out 2 cards as well. We let people know 1 card.
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
I'm here from Killeen. I actually left the Killeen City Council meeting early. And the gentleman who just spoke before me, why I'm down here is there are several residents of this town that asked me to come down and speak tonight. And a lot of what's going on in Killeen, Killeen's an easy town to trash. However, I've been watching what's going on down here, especially since the previous city manager went on board. There's a lot of problems with her up there. And I tried to warn several folks down here that you were gonna see problems. And lo and behold, you've got problems. Nobody listened, nobody got back to me or anything like that. When you take a look at a lot of the weird things that are going on at Killeen, there's an overlap. There's also, for some reason, a media blackout between the Williamson County and the Bell County line. There's stories that go on down here that started up in Killeen. A lot of the plans that are being executed here, I'm well aware were hatched up in Killeen. And when it comes to what the gentleman before me spoke about with nepotism and all that, when it comes to hiring of your personnel, oh, well, so-and-so is a great soccer player, so-and-so brought good cookies. I mean, if that's your rubric for hiring personnel and not really vetting them, I mean, were you aware that your previous city manager had been fired by the city of Hutto and all the controversy that went there? I mean, if I were hiring somebody, I'd be like, wait a minute, why'd you get fired? And when asked by the Killeen Daily Herald, she announced, oh, I was proud to get fired from Hutto. That doesn't portend very good things to come after that. And when you have a small group of people that are playing, what's my time?
You're about a minute and
Okay, the
20
clock was, we have a small group of people playing Monopoly with rural buildings and taxpayer money. That becomes a problem. Okay, I'm not singling out anybody here, I don't know anybody. But I've been watching the situation from far, and something's going on, and we are engaging in some investigations up there. I've had sit-downs with investigators from the Attorney General's office. I can provide names if 1 or 2 people here to prove it, that I've had sit-downs. We're in a holding pattern right now. When you consider that a small town of 9,000 like Elgin can currently have the Texas Rangers crawling all over it at the direction of the governor, who's not too far from here, a little bit of a push and a little bit of pressure. I'm trying to get that to happen in Killeen, and it looks like it's very well likely to happen. And with some of the connections between back and forth, there's something going on in Central Texas, and I'm just here to say, you might want to examine how you're doing business, or else if you want to trash Killeen, that's easy, but you're well on your way to becoming just like us. I'm just here to say, you might want to pump the brakes a little.
thank you. Okay, we have Anita Stinson.
Hello, Mr. Mayor and city officials and ladies and gentlemen of the community. My name is Anita Steenston, and I'm with the U.S. Small Business Administration Office of Disaster Assistance. The first thing I want to say is thank you for taking a moment to listen to me. And my ask of you at the end of this is to please help me to help your community. The first thing I want to say is our name is a little misleading in that clearly it says Small Business Administration, but during disasters we have help for homeowners and renters. I know, sounds a little strange. Small business helps homeowners and renters. And the help we have has to do with the terrible flooding that occurred all throughout your communities last July. And we're still here. And we're here because we have help. We have tremendous resources that can be life-altering. The Small Business Administration has up to $500,000 available to homeowners and an additional $100,000 for renters. And homeowners can get the additional $100,000 for their home as well. And what we do have is they are loans. They're not grants like FEMA has, but they're tremendously favorable loans. They're under 3%. And they're very trauma informed. And what do I mean by that? There's no payment or interest for the first year. And what this does is it affords people the opportunity to, get time and circumstances together. That means they can apply for grants. They can fairly adjust their insurance if they even have insurance. And it gives you time to get things moving and get things going again. And if you do go into your repayment phase, you're talking about a loan that's 2.813%, and that's spread out over 30 years. So there are tremendous resources that are available. They're your taxpayer dollars that we are simply recirculating back into the economy and the community. That's for homeowners and renters. We have up to $2 million for businesses and nonprofits. And what I really want to emphasize is, especially in these days and times, please, 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 please just apply. There's no cost to apply. There's no obligation to take a loan. Even if people are not sure, do I need this? Do I want this? Apply. You've preserved your option to think about it just by applying. You can reopen a loan application sometimes up to 2 years. 2 years after you've made that. We found out in one of the declarations we were on, one of our wildfire declarations out in Oklahoma, that the volunteer firefighters, this was the only option they had to replace their equipment. So I'm going to leave flyers out in the lobby for you all, and hopefully I can get some electronic materials and you guys will just simply post it on social media just to let people know their options. That's my only ask of you all.
Thank you.
We're sorry that we're here. Anybody have any questions at all?
We're not allowed to.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is proclamations. Agenda item 3.1. A proclamation running the week of November 3rd through the 7th of 2025 as Municipal Court Week. Whereas municipal courts play a significant role in preserving public safety and promoting quality of life in Texas. Whereas the City of Gerald Municipal Court was established in 2003. Whereas and authorized by the state law, the City of Gerald City Council appointed Judge David Scott Matthew as municipal judge for the Gerald Municipal Court in 2008. Whereas the procedures for the Gerald Municipal Court operations are set forth in the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, other laws of the state of Texas, as well as ordinances adopted by the City of Gerald. Whereas the City of Gerald is committed to the notion that our legal system is based on the principle that an independent, fair, and competent judiciary will interpret and apply the laws that govern us, and that judges and court personnel should comply with the law and act in a manner that promotes public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Gerald that the week of November 3rd to November 7th, 2025 is hereby recognized as Municipal Court Week in recognition of the fair and impartial justice offered to our citizens by the judge and the staff of the Municipal Court of the City of Gerald.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, as you said in the proclamation, I think January begins my 18th year here as city judge. So we've been all over town, so to speak. And Diane's been right next to me and made sure that things went well. Amelia does an awesome job. You have some clerks that step in and help us in the evening. I want to say thank you to Randy Stump, who's your prosecutor here. Does an amazing job. Has been around a long time as well. And your police department who provides security and bailiff for us. So with that, I just want to say thank you for the honor of serving and continuing to serve. And if you ever need anything, let me know, other than to get you out of the speeding ticket.
Thank you. Okay, agenda item 4 is regular agenda items. Agenda item 4.1. Discussion, consideration, possible action to change zoning designation from AG to highway commercial on property described as being a .548 acre tract of land situated in the Isaac Bunker Survey, abstract number 54 in the city of Gerald. On County Road number 313, Cemetery Road, a variable with public right-of-way dedicated by use and occupation, and to change zoning designation from agricultural AG to highway commercial C3 on property described as being a tract of land in the Isaac Bunker Survey, abstract number 54, in Williamson County, Texas, and being all of the called 14.238 acre tract described as tract 1 and a special warranty deed to Jacqueline Allison, recorded in document number 20080886839 in the official public records of Williamson County, Texas.
Mayor, with respect, I am not comfortable making any decision as it relates to 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3 at this time. I think there's a lot of critical additional information that's pending, so I'm going to motion to table, we make a motion to table those items. However, I also want to ask staff to put on a future agenda item which would allow us the opportunity to participate in some of the discussions so that we have, asking if staff would consider a future agenda item that would grant some of council the opportunity.
Council Paulson, each item would need to be tabled individually.
You can, so,
Not unless you read all three of them, but each one needs to be taken an item at a time.
so at this time I make a motion to table 4.1.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion?
What are the concerns for,
There's a potential for 380 and none of that's spelled out. There's a lot of missing information. When I read through the proposals, there's still a lot of unanswered questions at this time.
So George, are we still missing information? We tabled it last time, so there's been no movement on that.
Or you refer by missing information.
Well, I mean, she doesn't feel comfortable moving forward, so I mean, I haven't really heard any updates either. I mean, are we, like, how's this gonna move forward? Because, I mean, she doesn't have the information, is there gonna be information
The
provided?
staff will have to revisit the package and provide any claim missing information, and then it will be up for you to review again.
And for example, the 380 agreement is outlined, but we don't have a copy of the 380 agreement at this time. So I would like to know what that reflects before I make a decision.
They also have to go back in front of P and Z, correct?
They gotta go back.
Yeah, go back in front of P and Z.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think they have to go.
No.
More.
Well, they don't have to go back to the MD?
No, PNZ's already conducted the public hearing for the zoning, the annexation, and all of those items, and it's now been sent forward to this body for review.
So, did you request that? I wasn't aware that you're missing something. Did you request that from George in here? Your information? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking for.
Did you see where it mentioned the 380 agreement?
Mhm.
Did you
Well, what I'm saying is, we tabled it
Did you
last
read the
time.
packet?
I'm asking you a question.
I'm asking.
Did you ask them for the information?
Did you read the packet?
They're still working on the information. It
Okay, that's all I'm
Pertains
asking. I'm not trying to attack
pertains
you.
to a
I'm just asking.
wastewater line,
There's a
how
lot
it
of-
serves the
there-
wastewater.
There's also the potential for LUVs, because this has the potential to absorb all the LUVs that we have available at this time.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you do get your information. All I'm asking, that's why I'm asking them questions if there's been conversations, because I haven't asked them anything.
Did I communicate with staff,
This is it.
and did I communicate with you, Mayor?
Yes.
I don't want to create a quorum.
That's all I'm asking, is
Okay.
making sure you're getting your information if you ask for it. Does that make sense? That's all I'm asking, not saying you're trying to hold this up or anything.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to table agenda item 4.1. Got a second? Is there any further discussion? All right, no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Moving on to agenda item 4.2, discussion consideration possible action regarding a development agreement for Cornhill Business Park Phase 3 on a property described as being tract of land situated in the Isaac Bunker Survey, abstract number 54 in the city of Gerald in Williams County, and being all of Lot 3 and 4, Block A, Cornhill Business Park Phase 2, in addition to the city of Gerald, according to the plat thereof recorded in document number 203-014632, and plat records of Williams County, Texas, and being a portion of a called 19.21 acre tract of land, described in the warranty deed with vendor's lien to Tate Endeavors LLC, recorded in document number 202-1157525, in the official public records of Williams County, being about called 14.238 acre tract of land described as tract 1, an official warranty gift deed to Jacqueline Allison, recorded in document number 20008086839, being a portion of Hugh Smith Lane, variable with public right of way.
A motion to table 4.2.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 4.3, discuss and take possible action to vacate a right-of-way on property described as being .548 acre tract of land situated in the Isaac Bunker Survey, abstract number 54, in the city of Gerald in Williams County, Texas, being a portion of Hugh Smith Lane, formerly known as Williams County Road number 313, and Cemetery Road, a variable with public right-of-way dedicated by use and occupation.
Motion to table 4.3.
Second.
And we have a motion on the floor and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 4.4, discuss and take possible action to change land use designation from neighborhoods to business park on property described as, I do believe we,
Is it duplicate? So 4.4 and 4.5,
Yeah.
which one time it was a mistake on my part that they were included in them, they've already been voted
Oh,
yes. That's fine.
I was just gonna make a motion to remove it from the agenda, since it's a duplicate. I would go read the description, just for the record.
agenda 4.4, discuss take possible action to change land use designation from neighborhoods to business park on property described as 150.92 acre tract of land located in the Nathaniel Moore Survey, abstract number 410, in Williams County, Texas, set 150.92 acre tract of land, being all of that called 150.977 acre tract of land, recorded in document number 2002-046521, and the official public records of Williams County.
I'll make a motion to remove this, it's a duplicate from last week,
Second.
or last meeting.
Motion on the floor and a second. Questions? Oh, I'm removing it. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 4.5, discuss and take possible action on a request to amend the zoning ordinance of the city of Gerald by allowing a change from agricultural AG to light industrial warehousing, I-1, on property located in Nathaniel Moore Survey, abstract number 410, in Williams County, Texas, at 150.92 acre tract of land, being all of that called 150.977 acre tract of land, recorded in document number 2002-046521, and the official public records of Williams County.
I'll make a motion to remove that one as well, it's a duplicate.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. There's no discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Moving on to agenda item 4.6, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a development agreement for property described as 150.92 acre tract of land located in the Nathaniel Moore Survey, abstract number 410, in Williams County, Texas. Said 150.92 acre tract of land, being all that called 150.977 acre tract of land, recorded in document number 2002-046521 in the official public records of Williamson County.
Mayor and council, this request is for a development agreement for the property referred to as the Masonish Tract. It's also been referred to as the data center. Annexation, zoning, and land use change for this property was considered at the last meeting and approved, when considered at the public hearing. Highlights, of the development agreement would be 750 LUVs of water and wastewater capacity. Any unused LUVs shall revert back to the city. This property was initially considered for residential use, back in spring of 2025. They rescinded all of their requests for residential use and transitioned to a data center industrial type use. Indicated to us, city staff, that their LUV allocation will probably be close to 50 to 75 LUVs versus the 750. So that would be a good portion of LUVs coming back to the city of unused. Project milestones, as you can see on this screen, before 6 months from the effective date of the development agreement for the comp plan, 18 months from the effective date of the development agreement for annexation. They're actually already ahead of this timeline, given that they've already done the comp plan, annexation, and zoning prior to the consideration for the development agreement. Preliminary plat within 24 months from the effective date of the development agreement. Infrastructure construction plans, 30 months from the effective date of the agreement, and final plat, 36 months from the effective date of the development agreement. With their first building permit application to be 48 months from the effective date of the development agreement. These timelines might need to be amended depending on how the utilities are extended to that site, gas, natural gas, and electricity. They are on work with the county to get some right-of-way agreements, utility easement agreements along their proposed routes. So you may see this come back to you in the future to amend some of these timelines. We do have a couple motions on the board in front of you. I'm available for questions, and the developer's representative is also here if you have any questions for that.
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
So on, where the agreement on the recitals, that second paragraph where it says, owner intends to develop the Masoni's development as either an advanced manufacturing data center project or a residential development consisting of 750 LUVs of water and wastewater. Why is that worded that way?
In case they can't get the entitlements for the gas and utilities extensions over there, and they want to revert back to that residential use that they initially considered and presented to city council or to planning and zoning commission earlier this year.
But then we would have to rezone it prior to.
Yes, ma'am. We have to go back to that rezoning process. Yes, ma'am.
So this isn't saying they can just go in and do whichever they want, they have to ask if it goes back to the neighbor,
So this is saying for the development agreement, they can do either one of these uses, but they would have to rezone it if they revert back to the residential type use. So this would not negate their rezoning or the use change process. This is just kind of working into their development agreement that they would be allowed either one of those uses, like they would be allowed either one of those, but they would still have to go through a rezoning process if they were going to go back to residential type use.
does that say that in here, that they have to go back to rezoning? I don't know that I read that part.
It's probably not explicitly stated in there, but it doesn't say that this would negate their,
They would have to go back through because the residential use wouldn't be allowed in that as it's currently done.
I'm saying, but in this agreement, it implies that they can do either or,
It does, they'd have to come back, and if y'all decided you didn't like that rezoning, we'd have the option to deny it.
okay.
It doesn't guarantee that an approval of the rezoning.
Yeah, I'm looking for clarification on section 2.0, section 2.07. This is as it relates to oversizing reimbursement and potential reimbursement for offsite easements. Are those items that council will review prior to any reimbursements? Will we have an opportunity to see what that looks like? Or is this just protected in this?
Typically, by entering into a development agreement, you're simply saying you're gonna cover that and come back, but generally that would be part of the development, because it's worded in there as part of the development agreement, you're agreeing to pay that oversizing cost. Unless it specifies, I need to pull back up sometimes some will specify a separate agreement.
That was more geared towards the residential type use, because of what the infrastructure that they would have to put in for that.
So it's not in place for this current ordinance?
They would not need, regional or oversized improvements based off of the proposed data center use.
that applies to the easements as well?
The oversizing.
Get direct reflection of that. What about, 3.03B, project milestone amendments, and I think you touched on that earlier, if they don't hit those benchmarks, and the potential is there, the utilities will see that prior to.
Yes, ma'am, if we need to make amendments to this, and it would have to come back in front of this body for approval. And that's part of 303C, because to meet project milestones,
Right.
it states that this would, subject to additional city council review.
Further questions?
Well, it just seems like
Some of them.
some of them, but not all of them. I mean, it just seems like it doesn't specifically say if you choose to go this route, you have to come back and get approval for that. At least I didn't read that in black and white,
I
but,
think, don't they have to comply with zoning standards?
Yeah.
So it's protected by the zoning.
well, but we rezoned it to,
Commercial, so they can't use
So
it.
if they wanna go back to residential, they have to come back here and rezone the area to residential again.
okay, I just kind of would like for that to say that in there, but I guess they know that. And then at what point in the steps do we, are we able to say, you know, you have to do this and this and this? You have to have a closed water system, you have to have natural gas, you have to have a sound barrier wall. At what point I thought that would be the development agreement, but I guess it's not, so I don't know, at what stage does that all come in where we say, you know, this is what we want you to do?
In excess of the zoning, or?
I mean, just for the actual building,
Well, they say they're gonna put in water coolers and.
yeah, they told us that, but they've not put it in black and white,
You know,
where we're
sound
signing and agreeing to it.
stuff,
So
they can say,
they can say
anybody
what
can
they
say
want.
whatever they want to when they stand in front of us, but
So
how do we hold them to that?
when you look at those zoning classifications and you approve those zoning codes, you're approving everything within that zoning code. So if that's a use that's allowed within that zoning code, then you're approving it by right. So we are working on the sound ordinance to make sure that that's gonna be adequate, to make sure that there's not gonna be any interference with properties in the surrounding area, high school, the neighborhood properties around there. So that will be one of your enforcement actions, is that you have a sound noise ordinance that says that they can't exceed this DBA level at the property line, within these time periods. Usually it's about 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. They're naturally gonna put that berm in as part of their design process, but that's not,
Is that something that's in our zoning requirements and or in this agreement? I would like to see that.
the berm.
Well, I mean, if they said they're gonna do it and it's not part of our zoning requirements that we could enforce, then yeah, we need to have it written down somewhere.
Okay.
And signed and approved.
Okay, so we're also gonna work on, updating the zoning code next year to get some of these items just inherently built into the zoning code. Usually planned developments are kind of like a negotiation tactic, like a back and forth. Yeah, that's, it, this document's kind of meant for a different intent. But we can, this has already been vetted through them, so if we change this, unless you put that verbiage into the motion and they agree to it this evening, then this will have to come back to y'all for consideration at a future meeting on the development agreement.
Well, what's best, to add the verbiage now and ask them if they agree, or?
Are you here for this one, Garrett, or are you?
Yes,
Okay.
but I don't,
You're a representative, not, yeah.
yeah, I'm just a civil engineer, but I can probably answer some questions.
Okay, do you wanna,
Sure.
you wanna?
Well, yeah, what's the?
What's the Savannah Prominent Group or possibly the end user? In your opinion, would they be agreeable to that firm to help decrease the potential for sound?
I'm sorry, I wasn't at the last meeting, but is the berm on, between the high school or the county road? I wasn't sure.
So they actually have a natural drainage feature between their property and the high school.
Correct.
So I would assume that that berm would be on 487 and 308, I believe is that number.
I'm sure that would be fine. I mean, just a landscaping berm along county road.
Yvonne, let me ask you this, because obviously we cannot enforce any more strictly than what the code calls for. Could staff go back to the developer and have them do a goodwill and put in writing everything that they promised to do?
Yeah.
We're not enforcing it, it's a goodwill on their part.
Well, if you want it in the development agreement, yes, you could reopen negotiations through staff with the developer. You could
We
tonight
can do
give
that.
direction to Yvonne, and she could go back to the developer. Cause Sarah, I don't know that you have ability to agree to anything tonight on behalf of the developer, which is what
I
I'm
agree, I
kind of.
agree with you.
So, my recommendation would be, if you're wanting those type of provisions in this actual development agreement, to table it tonight, bring it back next month, and give time for, staff to talk with the developer. Obviously, y'all made your intent clear, the developer should know that, to understand, to get y'all's approval, they're probably gonna need to agree to those things.
And that's my concern, we heard a lot of, promises up here, you know, trying to find compromise for the local, neighbors, up to including, you know, there's a flood zone that, yes, we'll even give that to the city as a park. Well, once we get past the point, it's not in writing, nothing can happen, I mean, so, what does staff feel about going back and requesting?
So I would request that I get a list specifically for us to add to that negotiation with him, that, what you guys are going to ask for. Just so that if we come back later, somebody says, well, I wanted this also, but it wasn't included, just so we can mitigate any of that delay. As for the parkland dedication, that's actually built into the ordinance already. That's built into your subdivision ordinance, so that's a requirement as part of their plating process is to dedicate some of that parkland land to us.
Do you know how much that land, about 150 acres?
I don't.
Like 38. When we were looking at the residential, I think it was about 38 acres.
But it applies for this same entity even though it's not residential?
I will have to look at that. Most of the plots that I see are related to residential, so I'll have to go back and look at, see if that's a requirement, for the residential.
So you said that they have to adhere to any ordinances that we have, so once they approve this, then we change our ordinances, they have to abide by those, correct? So say we change ordinances after we said, okay, you guys can come, say we wanna add ordinances, they have to abide by it, or is it, we approve it and they abide by the ordinances that they agree to?
So occasionally when it comes to zoning, there are some, instances where they would be like existing non-conforming, i.e. like a business is there prior to the zoning ordinance being changed, something like that, and then they would be allowed to continue that type of use. I will verify with the legal team to see specifically about the noise ordinance, if this is in place prior to their building being issued a certificate of occupancy, if that's going to be the trigger for them to be compliant with that, or if it would be platting, at what point is this considered that they're vetted or invested
motion to table this so that, staff can listen to our, what? Yeah, so staff can get our recommendations or what we want to get in the agreement before we decide to vote on that or approve it.
Second that.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 4.7, discuss and take possible action to change zoning designation from single-family suburban SF2 to general commercial C2 on property described as Rolling Hill Meadow Block A, Lot 27 acres, .5, generally located at 372 Meadow Valley Loop in Gerald, Texas.
Thank you, Mayor. So City Council, this is, I'm gonna do a lot of explanation on this case. It's got quite a bit of history. You can see the proposed rezoning request is for this property right underneath the laser pointer, is that small pink parcel. I started with the city in March of this year. I received a request for some zoning history on this parcel from the current property owner. Indicated, I told him that this parcel was considered SF2 zoning. He asked for a couple of clarification emails on that. I did some more research, went back and found where it was changed in 2024 on a city-initiated zoning change from C3 to SF2. He asked for a copy of the notices that were sent out in conjunction with that change. I was not able to locate any in previous staff emails. I couldn't locate any in the network drives that we utilize for storage of data. I conferred with with the city attorney to ask what do we need to do moving forward for this case, and she recommended that we have the property owner submit a formal zoning change to change it back to the C commercial type zoning. So we proceeded with that. We do have an email that's included in your packet that indicates when this was changed in 2021 from SF2 to highway commercial C3, that there was conditions placed on it. The application at that time was not for a conditional use permit. They did not request those conditions be put on there. Staff recommendation and the city attorney recommendation is that we do not continue with those conditions. They were not agreed to by that property owner in 2021. The current property owner is not requesting that those conditions be carried over. Typically, when you see a straight zoning, say from SF2 to C1, C2, C3, unless they're asking for a conditional use permit for a specific variant or a specific deviation from the zoning code, then you don't see those conditions put on a zoning request. If it's a straight zoning request from residential to commercial, then you just say, I'm allowing all of these uses within the zoning district. So I hope that that's clear as mud, and available for questions or for clarification on any part of that.
So was that motion to change it originally, was that legal, or does that not stand whatsoever? How would that work? Was it ever actually zoned that or not? If they put conditions
On
on it?
paper, back from 2021.
Yeah.
It is voidable, not completely void, but I think what Yvonne was explaining is correct. Typically, with a straight zoning, you don't see conditions put on there. It's only if they request a specific use that would require a CUP, or you've done it under a planned development zoning district. Straight zoning, it's, these uses are allowed by right. And that's what's allowed there, barring something that would require some type of special permit.
Because there was an email where the property owner agreed to specific
He
conditions.
agreed, he requested that the conditional uses within that zoning district be allowed, not that the condition, not that he said he agreed with the conditions.
The conditions, right, the conditions they passed.
That's,
He wasn't agreeing to those.
he wasn't agreeing to the conditions that they passed, he was requesting that the conditional uses within that zoning district be allowed as part of that request. And I just wanted to clarify that because we had some confusion with some of the general public on that, so I just wanted to make sure that.
So the owner never agreed to the conditions.
Not that we can, no, those conditions were added as part of the motion when it was, considered in 2021 by P&Z and City Council of the joint body.
So I'm gonna repeat that. So the owner was the owner ever made aware of the conditions once the council voted, put the conditions on in the meeting and then voted and approved it?
I'm not aware if the owner was present at that meeting to say, yes, I am in agreement with these conditions or not. All I have is that email that was provided to us saying that he's requesting the conditional uses be allowed, but I have nothing from him saying that he was in agreement with those conditions. And then a few of those conditions actually are a little bit worrisome, like the,
Speed bump.
the speed bumps. Thank you, sir. That can cause, somebody goes over that, who's liable for the damage that vehicle causes if they lose control.
Where was the speed bump supposed to be put? In
It's not.
the street or in the parking lot of the?
It's not
In the street.
specified.
In the street.
Yeah, so it says on Meadow Valley Loop, but who's responsible for installation, maintenance, upkeep of those?
Yeah.
Who's liable if there's damage to somebody?
Yeah.
Those people will have to be authorized by the fire marshal, it's not that we can make it.
Okay, so what's this, what action? So tonight, what are we?
Tonight, staff is, recommending that you make a motion to recommend approval of the ordinance as reference to change zoning back to C2 without conditions on it. The concern is that we cannot find, proof that notice was sent to this property owner when the city initiated zoning changes conducted in March 2024,
Yeah.
which, could potentially cause some issues.
Right. Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-110401 as read and captioned by the mayor, based on staff's recommendations and findings. Is that enough? Changing it back?
I'm sorry, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
So,
Go ahead.
before we approve it to C2, what all businesses can go in a C2 area? I mean, I noticed in there, what they weren't gonna allow was a gas station, so if we approve the C2, could they put a gas station right there, right, entering this small neighborhood? I mean, I don't think the residents would appreciate that,
I
so.
think if I were, well, if one's looking that up, I do think gas stations are a CUP required use. If I remember correctly, she's looking that up.
But what about other stuff, like?
She's looking that up, but since you said specifically gas stations, that would mean if they
Used-
wanted to build one, they
used
have
car
to come back.
dealership, right, like, there's a lot of things that probably fall
Right.
into C2 that the property owners
Would they
might not
come back?
like.
Right, we don't have to come back to those that fall into C2.
And we do not have to change it, right? Because you said originally it was not placed as that, so when we reverted it back to SF2,
It was the SF2 was a city initiated rezoning.
correct.
And the concern is that that property owner did not get proper notice of that. You can't, nobody can present proof. And so the
Correct.
assumption is they did not get that,
But
so.
what you stated earlier, that if our initial change was not legally binding, then,
I would say it's voidable. I don't like, usually that's odd that the council added those conditions. When a request for straight zoning was applied for.
Yeah.
And then with the subsequent possible no notice to the property owner that being changed to SF2, my recommendation is to take it back to the prior, to the C2 zoning, just straight zoning, since there's no proof that that owner even agreed to those conditions at the time. Or they were
but it was never really approved as an actual straight C2, correct?
Technically, no, because they added those conditions. It was a C2 with conditions that arguably should have been put on there without owner agreement documented.
Okay, so C2 zoning allows for a inn, a hotel, a boutique, a restaurant, a general use restaurant with drive-through, limited allowance for a bar, tavern, or pub, a microbrewery, micro winery, or micro distillery, allows for food catering services, If they wanted to do a permanent mobile or outdoor food vendor, they would have to get a conditional use permit. Limited use of live music or entertainment, permitted use of dance hall or nightclub, permitted use of theater, movie, or live theater, permitted use of a membership club or lodge, permitted use of an event facility, permitted use of an athletic facility, indoor or outdoor, limited use of a commercial recreation type, permitted uses of an indoor firing range, permitted use of home healthcare services, permitted uses of medical or dental office or clinic, conditional use for urgent care facility, permitted use for general office, permitted use for general retail, conditional use for agricultural sales, landscape supply sales, garden center, conditional use for farmer's market, permitted use for artisan studio and gallery, permitted use for personal services, personal services restricted, that kind of gets into like a spa, massage type place. That's a conditional use. They would have to request a conditional use permit for that type. Dry cleaning service, drop off only is permitted use, laundromat is permitted use. Fitness center is permitted use, banking and financial services are permitted uses, funeral home is permitted use, limited use for veterinary clinic, indoor pens only with a kennel, limited use for self-storage indoor, limited use for pest control or janitorial services, limited use for officer showroom, permitted use for automobile parts and accessory sales indoor, so kind of like O'Reilly's AutoZone type use. Automobile repair and services limited, that is a permitted use. Conditional use would be automobile repair and service in general, so we'd have to look at specific definitions between what those allow, like probably indoor repairs, outdoor bays. Fuel sales, conditional use, and that's it for C2 zoning.
So back to the original thing then, so were those, can we do conditions, or were the conditions permissible? Okay, not in that one, right?
If they requested just straight zoning, unless that owner agrees to it, I would, you're looking at the straight zoning only.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this, because I was part of that, and I'm going strictly off memory from, 2001, but number one, we would not have done anything without consulting with council at the time to make sure we weren't doing anything illegal. I do remember the discussion, because there was a question about what Mr. Donnick's original deed stated for the property versus what the property owner was doing, or wanting to do versus what the neighbors there had. We've exhausted everything trying to find these notices that we would have sent, because I think, you can't quote me, but I believe the owner was actually here during that discussion. We had a full house. For the notification to that, yes.
Back in
2001.
21.
When that was done. Sorry, 21. Have we exhausted searching everywhere? I mean.
I have searched for the notification sent out for the zoning change that occurred last year that prompted all of this to happen. That email that was provided to us was from a former city manager on their email account. It's not the same property owner as of now.
I'm kind of looking at this and was there a reason why they put no hotel, no school, nothing? Seems like
I
there's
imagine because there was a residential neighborhood that was backed up behind there.
Oh, okay, yeah, because they put a bunch of restrictions on it, which hurt your graph. Do you remember time, because it says you abstained from it, is it like an issue or something? I don't remember, Daniel. We're looking at, it says you abstained. If you recall.
You mentioned deed restrictions also, and will you correct me if I'm wrong, Christina, but the city is not, you cannot enforce deed restrictions, so that's a private matter between.
Right,
Okay.
but I remember the
Just wanted to make sure.
discussion.
Okay,
It was
cool.
big.
You're just kind of basing
Yes.
that. Okay,
It was a
so I
whole
wanted to make
huge-
sure that-
Trying to remember. Just don't want, if it was an actual. Oh, that makes sense.
So the correct way to do it, if we wanted to put limitations on it, is put our suggested limitations, and will we table this, or we vote against it, but then they can come back with a different application for, conditional use, certain restrictions on it?
You can deny this request, be aware that it may open the door for litigation based off of the lack of proof that notice was sent to this property owner to change this when the city did their city initiated zoning change.
I mean, I'd like to figure out if we actually changed it to, you said C2 or 3, whichever they requested. Was that initially, does that hold the city to actually changing it? If it put restrictions on it?
The 2021,
Yes.
But you said you could find that, correct?
the,
You just can't find the one from 24.
I can't find the one from 24 that changed it back to residential.
They have that.
But we're not entirely sure that it was actually officially changed.
If it's enforceable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do y'all,
The minutes are in there.
Yeah, they're here. Could we move on to another agenda item and I find those minutes? Okay.
Oh, they're attached in our packet.
Sorry, she just, yeah.
From December 7th, 21.
which items is it from the
This is 4.7.
Oh.
not today, but back in.
4.2 in the minutes. That's,
Okay, so this is the P and Z minutes. Do you have a council meeting?
mine says special call, oh,
It's a P and Z, the minutes from P and Z.
but then I see something with Rusty and Robin voting, they're not on P and Z.
That second page is the council.
Second page is council.
Oh, that's weird.
Were y'all operating as the same body back then?
You know what?
City
Probably
council?
were.
I think you're operating as the same body.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we're.
But it doesn't indicate if the property owner.
C2 or C3? C3. No, it says from. From S2 to C3. Oh, yeah, we need to see the councils then. Straight council. Councils, all the councils, you need them.
Prepare for the applicant doesn't have any interest at all in considering any kind of conditional use permit.
Never, he indicated that he wanted to go straight to the C2 zoning.
When did P and Z review it?
vote of 4-0, one commissioner abstained.
Voted, oh, I read that part. They voted for what?
They voted to recommend approval to city council with a vote of 4-0, one commissioner abstained from the vote.
To change it back to C2?
Yes, ma'am.
I think they tabled that.
Do we have the actual, council minutes?
Just done.
Okay.
Was it considered at the same meeting, the same, you know? December 7th? You know what you're talking about?
So if you wanna keep going, there was a whole list.
So there's no changes? Okay.
This says the same.
Yeah, so there's no changes.
Yeah, but if we do it now, it removes those conditions.
Correct.
You gonna remember, Daniel, why that had those conditions?
I remember that.
Like, there's like a specific.
Well, like the speed bumps, yeah, they were concerned, because, this part I remember, there's, you know, it's kind of like a U-shaped thing. A lot of kids, a lot of families walking around there, and they were concerned with if you have businesses there, high-speed traffic coming in. They're already, if I'm not mistaken, they're already having trouble with 18-wheelers cruising through there. So that was a concern on the speed bumps.
Well, I can't imagine y'all just created these for no reason, you know what I mean?
No.
And then if we vote to get rid of them, and then.
Is that what we're voting for, is to take the conditions off, or we're voting for changing it back to the correct zoning?
It was already taken.
If we change it back to the zoning, the correct zoning, it doesn't include these conditions. You can write it.
The city changed the
The
zone.
item was to change it to a straight C2 zoning, so it would not have those conditions on it.
So what was the applicant's concern with the conditions?
He just indicated that he wanted a straight CT zoning, not that he had any concerns with these specific conditions. I can reach out to him and see if he's agreeable to any of these.
Can we, it's not that we're not interested, but can we see if he'll accept these conditions?
So I just wanna put that question before you. If he says no, then
We have to consider it at that point.
yes, ma'am.
You know,
Yes, sir.
on the speed bumps, those have to be authorized by the fire marshal.
Yeah, I would not
Yeah,
recommend.
that speed bump is the only one that
Do y'all want those conditions, or do y'all just wanna, I mean, it's up to y'all on, I mean, y'all know that area, what do y'all envision going on a property right there?
Is that the empty lot that's on the,
Right when you pull in.
off of the access road?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And then the houses are kind of further down, there's not,
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, those
So
new
all of
homes.
all of those lots at the frontage of this subdivision are vacant right now. We do have some pending requests for feasibility studies for commercial uses. But,
okay, I see that there, that's what I thought, that's what I was
so
thinking.
the lot that they're requesting this change on is this lot right here.
Oh. That tiny little area?
Yes, ma'am, not the entire area, no, just this one small lot right here, as shown on your maps that are included.
What's the size of that lot?
A half acre.
I think we're talking about that whole area. Just a half acre.
So it's just that one small pink lot that I tried to highlight, but I wasn't successful.
Oh, well, I
in
saw the
doing
little dot and I'm like,
it. It's
is she
just,
talking about just that little square?
yes, ma'am, just that one lot.
Now I'm gonna motion to table 4.7 to give staff the opportunity to see if the applicant will adhere to the same conditions that were applied in the original zone.
Minus.
Minus, correct.
I'll second that.
A motion on the table and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous?
Mayor, who did you pull the second from?
Second?
Okay.
Okay, agenda item 4.8, discussion, consideration of possible action regarding a development agreement for property collectively referred to as a TON tract, described in detail in the development agreement.
I'm going to request that council table this item, and then when we get to 4.9, table that one as well. We still do have some negotiation, options going back and forth with this developer for the tract.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to table 4.8.
I'll second.
we have a motion on the floor and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. It's unanimous. Agenda item 4.9, discussion consideration of possible action regarding a development agreement for property collectively referred to as Cardinal Farms Development as described in detail in the development agreement.
Motion to table for tax recommendation 4.9.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. 5-0. Agenda item 4.10, discussion consideration of possible action regarding a 15-foot wide permanent easement agreement and a 25-foot wide temporary construction easement between Ron and Sherry Kellum, grantor, and the city of Gerald, Texas, grantee, to construct a 16-inch water line to support the ARPA grant project.
Thank you, sir. Mayor and council members, this request is to approve a temporary construction easement and a permanent utility easement in relation to the ARPA water line that the city is working on in conjunction with the Lone Star Regional Water Authority and the Gerald Shortman Water Supply Corporation. You can see on the map before you see the location of the easement. It is for this portion right here. Temporary construction easement would be along this, and then permanent water line easement. The temporary construction easement is, my apologies. The temporary construction easement is 25 foot wide and 15, and the permanent utility easement would be 15 foot wide. 18 months for the temporary construction easement, the utility easement would be permanent, recorded with the county, so that any future property owners assignments would be aware that this is on there. Working on getting the ARPA line under construction, and this and the purchase of the Valencia property is one of the last remaining items that the city is due for that project.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the easement agreement as read in the caption by the mayor, based on staff's recommendations and findings, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. We do have a question.
Just a quick, so if this exceeds the duration, it comes back to us and just, because it's.
For the temporary construction easement, yes, ma'am, if it were to exceed that 18 months timeline, then we would bring it back to you for consideration. We are under a hard deadline to get that arc line installed before first quarter of 2027. I don't anticipate that happening, but yes, if it did, then we would bring it back to you for consideration.
All right, thank you.
Any further discussion? No, we have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous? All right. Agenda item 4.11, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the adoption of a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 1.351 acre portion of property to support the ARPA grant project for the amount of $250,000, authorizing the closing costs associated with the purchase.
Thank you, sir. The purchase of this Valencia project, or property is also in conjunction with the ARPA Waterline project. 1.351 acres. This is for a pump station and a ground storage tank to be installed here for funding purposes, at which point the water will be piped over to the other side of 35. So currently this is on the east side of 35, it will be pumped to the west side of 35, where we intend on constructing an elevated storage tank in order to provide some additional water pressure to city residents. So this has already been negotiated with the property owner, worked into the ARC Line project, just seeking council approval for the purchase of the property so that we can continue with that project.
Just a quick question, on the 250,000, how do we come to a value on 1.3 acres at $250,000?
That was already negotiated into the contract prior to me starting. I don't know if it was based off of appraisal district fair market value. I'm not quite sure how they came up with that price. And I do want to point out, we do get reimbursed for these costs. So the purchase of the land, the purchase of the engineering costs, construction costs, we do get reimbursed for this through that ARPA project. So we. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The reason I question is because it also sets precedents going forward if the city needs to buy property, whether it's a reimbursement or not, people are gonna see what we're willing to pay, is no question.
And staff recommends approval.
Yes, sir, it is. Yes, please. I'd like to get you on that water line project.
There's a deadline.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to approve resolution 2025-10406 as read and captioned by the mayor based on staff's recommendation and findings, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
Second.
motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion? No? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Agenda item 412, discussion, consideration, and possible action on the voluntary release of properties from the City of Gerald's extraterritorial jurisdiction, or ETJ.
Thank you, sir. You guys have seen this a couple times already this year. The property owner is requesting removal from the ETJ. They are located over on the Ronald Reagan corridor. It's actually gonna be just west of where the Labatt property is located. Approximately 174 acres. Purpose is to release the property from the ETJ. 2 tracts, one on the north side of Ronald Reagan and one on the south side of Ronald Reagan. So there's a state bill that says that the property owner submits a valid petition for release from ETJ and meets all the statutory requirements, city must approve the request, but they do not consider or make a decision on the request within designated timeframe, which I believe is 30 to 45 days, and it's automatically released by operation of law. So we bring these to you guys just for formality, so we have history of it, we have tracking, so that we can, if we need to go back and find it again. I do want to inform the council that this property has also submitted a request for a feasibility study for water. It sounds like they might be creating a municipal utility to treat their own wastewater. They are gonna seek some water from the city. They're currently in the City of Georgetown CCN. As we've discussed before, City of Georgetown is amending the limits of their CCN. So based on the results of that feasibility study, we might anticipate that we'll see a request to amend the CCN limits for the City of Gerald and City of Georgetown if there's available water for them to pursue.
Just because Indiana doesn't remove it from our CCN at all.
Correct, those are 2 completely different boundaries.
But it's not in our CCN.
Not currently in our CCN, it's currently in City of Georgetown CCN.
What would that motion need to look like to remove it?
It's on the screen, sorry. I apologize.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the release as read and captured by the mayor based on staff's recommendations and findings.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. We don't need to state the property or anything, just that we release something from our ETJ.
We need to say, you need to approve the request to release from the ETJ's, request by the applicant.
Can we call it the Irvine tract? Okay, there we go, and that'll, okay.
I just want to make it clear what we're releasing.
Let me say that again. What tract?
The Irvine tract?
Irvine tract. So I'd like to make a motion to release the Irvine tract from the ETJ.
Now we have a motion and a second. If there's any further discussion, no? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 4.13, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding the community poll results for an outdoor workout facility in the city's participation in the National Fitness Campaign Program for the installation of a fitness court.
Thank you, sir. I did present this to council probably early summer, perhaps late spring. And was given direction to conduct a poll to see what city feedback would be on the fitness court. Yeah, so we presented it to city council at the regular meeting on May 6th, advised to conduct a public poll. Staff conducted the public poll following the June 23rd regular council meeting, and collected responses from July 5th to August 7th. So we received a total of 78 responses. Question number 5, specifically on the poll, was what street do you live on? I didn't want to ask for specific addresses. People get a little leery putting specific addresses on polls. So I just wanted to gather the streets that they were on to determine if they were in city limits, outside the city limits. So 6 responses near Black Buffalo Drive in city limits, 5 responses near Drake Drive in city limits, 4 responses near Blue Agate Drive in city limits, 3 responses near Citation Drive, and all other locations, as you can see on exhibit. Well, let me see if I can zoom in on this. Okay. So you had quite a bit of responses from downtown and the home place. I will not be able to have the laser pointer on and zoom in at the same time. So you can see downtown had quite a few responses. Stonebridge Crossing had a few. Eastern Wells had a few. Home Place had quite a few. Balcones Flats had quite a few as well. And then the majority of the remainder of your responses are going to be in the Fontana area, so outside of city limits. So you had close to 60 responses saying yes, they would support the installation of an outdoor workout station in Gerald. Close to 10 that said no, about 5 that said we're just not really sure if we want this or not. How likely are you or your household to use a public outdoor workout station? Very likely was about 37 responses. Likely was about 22. Neither likely or unlikely about 1 or 2 responses, and unlikely was about 6. Very unlikely about 1, and very unlikely about 8 responses. How often do you think you or your household would use a workout station? Daily, about 17 responses. Daily or weekly, about 2 responses. Monthly at 5. Never at about 11. Rarely at 5 responses. And weekly at about 37 responses. When would you most likely use the court? In the afternoon, about 5 responses. Afternoon, evening, about 2. Evening, about 27 responses. Morning, about 11 responses. Morning or afternoon, at about 2 responses. Morning, afternoon, evening, about 2 responses. And morning or evening, at about 16 responses. So really just seeking guidance from City Council at this point. Do you guys want to proceed with an application to the National Fitness Court to see if you're awarded grant money to proceed with this? Do you want to just not consider this at all? Just what direction do you guys want to move?
If we get that grant, is it matching? We match up to so much? There was something to that, I thought.
So they award up to, I believe, about $250,000 in grant money. They help you find a location. If your, depends on your site. So if your site needs some improvements, if you need a pad that would support the court itself, then we might have to do some improvements. We might have to do some concrete pour, stuff like that. I'm going to take this time to also introduce Forrest. Our city planner, Forrest, came to us from another city who has previously gone through this process, so he might be able to actually answer some questions a little bit better than I have. So if you have questions that here I may be able to answer, but to answer your question, it just depends on the cost of what improvements the site might need.
I have a question, what city did you previously work in?
City of Caldwell.
Caldwell? Okay. And did they participate in this program?
Yes.
What did it look like for Caldwell? What did that program look like for the city you participated in?
So for City of Caldwell, we only were allowed to apply for the grant to be up to $50,000. So the only cost that we incurred, because we had an existing slab that was used for like a skating rink type area. So that was existing. So the only slab that needed to be improved was the piece that the actual equipment would sit on. So it was like a 5-foot wide piece of concrete, and then the length of that slab. So it only cost the city about $12,000 to actually install that, and then the grant covered the rest of the expenses.
So let's see, 12,000, and that was for all the equipment and everything.
So that was just for the concrete work, and then to see the integrity of the existing slab to see if it would be able to support it.
And then the city covered the equipment and
The equipment was covered by the grant.
the grant,
Yeah.
and installation and all that, so.
Could y'all apply for more? I'm not sure what you qualified for was the 50.
No, so the grant was only for 50,000 at that time, it was about 3 years ago that they did it, so I'm assuming that they upped the award amount.
What kind of location, sorry, what kind of location was it? Was it
So it was,
near other workout or like park area stuff, or was it just a standalone by itself?
It was in Davidson Creek Park, so it's a 95-acre park that the city obtained through land donations. And so back in 2004, the Texas Parks and Wildlife, they actually made a grant improvement to that park. So it's got a lot of different amenities around it and walking trails. So it was just something to make use of an empty slab that wasn't being used anymore. And then later, a few years later, we went and installed 2 pickleball courts on that slab, like the other side of the slab.
Gotcha. So it was kind of around it.
Yeah.
Do we have an ideal, like, the location we would, like, they had an ideal location? Do we have a?
So outside of Memorial Park, I really don't know where else. Possibly the park that is near Stonebridge Crossing, but that is in the floodplain. We just have to, review the sites that the city has. You know, you want it central to where we're gonna use it, not out on, a rural road that's not gonna get much traffic on it. And currently, those are the 2 areas that I am aware of that would be pretty centrally located that the city is already plans.
If we get approved for it, we have to take it, or?
No, I asked him, I said, if we get approved for this and then we decide that this is not something we want to proceed with, can we, can maybe rescind the funds? And he said that that's actually not a common process, but it's not all that uncommon. As they get to the end of the grant funding period, they'll have cities that say, hey, this is just not something that we can move forward with at this time. We'd like to release those funds back to you guys so that you can use it for another city that might be more eligible at this time.
It's at least worth looking into to see.
I agree. I think that it would be worth it. I think it would be a great amenity for the city. And then if it's just not something that we can figure out at this time, then we say, you know, this is not something that we can proceed with at this time, but we would definitely like to pursue it in the future.
You're familiar with the whole process too, right?
For the most part. It's been a few years, but yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna make the motion to approve staff to proceed with the fitness court grant application as read and captioned by the mayor, based on staff's recommendations and findings.
Second. Did you steer it? I'll take it, second.
Okay.
We have a motion on the floor in a second. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. All right, agenda item 4.14, discussion consideration of possible action regarding relocation of stop signs at the intersection of First Street, County Road 307 and Avenue A in the city of Gerald upon completion of the Avenue A Community Development Block Grant, CDBG Program Roadway Project.
Thank you, sir. So the CIP roadway project on Avenue A is including a redesign at the intersection of First Street and County Road 307. Ordinance 2005-01 designated this intersection as a 3-way stop sign. However, when I go back and look at Google Street Map views, I can't see that this was ever actually a 3-way stop sign. All I find is iterations that it was a 1-way stop sign.
It was.
Okay, so it's never been a 3-way stop
No,
sign?
it was a 3-way.
It was a 3-way stop sign.
For a short
Okay.
period of time, way back.
For a very short time? Okay, so I cannot find an ordinance granting it to go back to a 1-way stop sign, from 2005. So we're gonna formally get this on the books that based off of the CDBG roadway project and the changes to the intersection that we're gonna recommend that this be a 1-way stop sign moving forward. So your current configuration is that there's a stop sign where that red circle is. You're gonna get the laser pointer out again. Proposed changes is that the stop sign actually be on here, and that's because you have a lot less traffic coming off of Avenue A, versus First Street. so that you can allow that First Street traffic to continue to flow, versus the lower amount of traffic that's coming off of Avenue A. Any questions that you might have, anything that you want to add to that?
Your house is over here. Okay, so it's gonna be right, oh, she wants to move it right here.
No, we wanna change it over here. We wanna change it here.
So that people coming this way stop.
No, people coming,
This
because,
way
because
stop.
Avenue A is more
And Gilbert.
residential. We want the stop from people coming out of Avenue A into First Street, we want them to stop. We wanna continue Avenue A as a thoroughfare. You get more traffic here than you do in the residential.
Oh, this is First, this is A.
Mm.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I've almost got killed there at the intersection.
It's an odd intersection.
It
is.
Stop sign, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-110404 as read in the caption by the mayor based on staff's recommendations and findings.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor in a second. Any further discussion? Nope. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Moving on, consent agenda items. I will accept a motion to approve unless,
A motion to approve is presented.
Second.
all right, we have a motion to approve in a second. Is there any further discussion? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 6, we're going to adjourn into executive session, 6.1. Executive session, closed meeting pursuant to Texas Government Code, section 551.072, to deliberate, purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Deliberation in an open meeting would have detrimental effect on the position of the governmental body in negotiations with the third party, to wit, groundwater supply contract between the City of Gerald and Rangewood Water LLC. Now adjourned at 8:55 p.m. The Gerald City Council is now back in session at 10:02 p.m. Okay. We're in open session to consider, discuss, deliberate, and take action on any item discussed in executive session. 7.1, groundwater supply contract between the City of Gerald and Rangewood Water LLC. This time we have no action. With that, I don't think we have any further business, so we are adjourned at 10:02 p.m.